Let's do it. Okay. Oh, no. This is the end of the slide. No. Here we go. Welcome to Dev Talks. This is Dev Talks, right? Nothing works on the first time. Go. So today I'm gonna talk about legacy code and how to leave behind a good one. This is an interesting topic. So my name is Alex Andrade. I'm father of two daughters. This doesn't matter here, but you know, just to leave it there. I'm a software developer at Seven Shifts, and I love front end. And today I'm gonna use a lot of examples about front end. So just to take a look, raise your hand if you work with front end here. Okay, so we have some backends, guys. Sounds good. You're welcome as well. We're gonna talk, but I'm for sure you're gonna understand. So when this is what I feel when I hear the word legacy code, the words legacy code. Probably you feel the same when your tech leads or maybe your PM said you're gonna work on that bug and that's gonna touch some legacy code. I feel like this. I envision myself working for long hours trying to just understand what the code does and hoping that when I deploy that, it's not gonna crash the app or cause more bugs. So let's take a look. Um, what is legacy code? Why that has happened? So one thing we need to keep in mind is that technology is in continuous evolution. That changes all the time. The approach change, new libraries come all the time, and that is always changing. So we're gonna take a look on some code on the front end, of course, but how technology has been changed over time, right? So how many of you have have had a chance to do this kind of code here? Server rendering. Raise your hand. Okay, seven shifts, guys. I can see your hands. But basically, for those that is not familiar, what it does is like a request come to the server is gonna go to the database. In this case here, it has like a array of heroes coming from a database or whatever, and it's gonna changing the DOM, changing the request, and it's gonna return this chunk of HTML, which is this list of heroes on the left, right? So let's suppose I start my new company right now, and this is what I have the most top technology that I can use to build my company. Because no one start a company saying, I'm going to start with that legacy technology over there, right? No one here. So let's suppose I build my new app, my huge app, which is a list of heroes with this technology. And then the next year, something show up and say, this is not that performant. Whenever you go to that page, you're gonna refresh it, so the browser is gonna refresh, and the front end does not have much control because it doesn't have the list of heroes. So there is something powerful over there called jQuery. for sure, for sure, most of you have worked with this. Uh, this scares me now, but this works. I just did this yesterday. This is just grabbing making a fetch, grabbing the heroes from a REST API or whatever, but it has those that information with him, and it can like change the DOM and do whatever they want with the DOM with the that information. So here it's doing basically exactly the same as the server rendering, but just on the front end, where it is like grabbing the information and rendering the list. My no whole new app. I just rewrite this to use this new, brand new technology, which is jQuery. So cool, but the next year I heard some people saying, okay, now you need to have routes and you need to add more folks to your team, and the code is becoming like a mess. And you said, okay, there are some frameworks with the rays of Webpack, Babel, and I can do that better with React, Angular, or Vue. So, okay, let me rewrite to React. And here we go. Rewrote everything to React. So this is my brand new, my whole new app rewritten to React. This is doing exactly the same, using effect, like fetching the heroes from the server and manipulating the information and generating the same HTML. So who is not familiar with that? It's okay for everyone, right? Most of that. Okay. So it's basically just changing. So the thing is, the syntax changed, but fun- the functionality is basically the same. The product is basically the same with some difference with it's not reloading all the time, not refreshing. But like for the user don't care about syntax. Or you have a user that care and say, okay, you're using this syntax, use the another one. User don't care about syntax. What user care is a software that is working and is solving their problem. So now we have the top technology with React. What if in the next year something better come up? Let's suppose, I don't know, there's a bunch of training, but let's suppose Svelte, I don't know, just an example. So here there is a code we're reading with Svelte, but what I want to say for you is like, what is legacy code? Because we were, every time you were in the best top technology, and every time the legacy code is the last one, right? So what is legacy code? We can affirm that legacy code is code is a code becomes a legacy code as soon as it's shipped into production, because someone else is going to work on that code that you have written, or maybe you is going to work on that code 1 year late. So the problem is not the syntax if you know what is going on there, right? So why do we all the time when we see a legacy code or a code that is not the way I want, we think I'm gonna rewrite this because this is not good. Sometimes I go, who is familiar with React hooks? Okay, some of you. React hooks like came in place last year, kinda. Um, and here we still have a lot of apps that use the regular life cycle, like component did mount, component did amount. And generally, when I see a code like that, I say, okay, let me rewrite this to hooks, right? But the code is functioning, it's working fine. Just the syntax and the way of doing that change it. So why do we devs we tend to rewrite everything? It's because it's hard. It's harder to read code than to write it. So when you look at a code and it's kind of like hard to read and hard to keep following, we tend to, this is not right. Let's rewrite it. I'm not telling that like we should never rewrite, but this is like what we used to do, we tend to do. So let's take a look how to deal with legacy code. Let's suppose on that first example that we have our whole server rendering app, and now we need to add more functionalities. We need to fix some bugs. Uh, so there's three options. The first one is to keep maintaining and adding feature to the existing one, because this is working, right? The user don't care about it. The user just care about the software working. So this is one option, but if that's not possible, like probably if the framework does not support you adding more features, or it's gonna take a long time or much more effort, maybe this is not an option. I used to work in a company that they switched to Flash. Who knows Flash? And in the next year, Flash became deprecated for the browsers. But they said, okay, let's keep maintaining this. And the last year, they were like rushing up because their browser is gonna and the support is not no longer is gonna work. So this is an option. This is an option, but maybe this is not the best option. The second one is like rewrite it from scratch. So you have like worked, put a lot of time on that server rendering, and now like, okay, I need to add more functionalities. Let me write from scratch. Sometimes, and you're gonna, for some companies that might work because the software is not huge, not big. But if you put a lot of time on that, probably this is not a good option because and maybe this is not a good option. What we have chosen here on 7 ships is like progressively rewrite. So let's take a look on how this option is. It's like basically keeping what you have, but moving progressively to the new one, to the new approach, to the new way. So this is the 7 shifts app, the web app, and this is the time off view. So just to have an idea, do you guys know what the 7 shift software does? No, more or less. Okay, I'm gonna explain. Uh, Basically, we help restaurants to manage their employees and like their shifts, the labor. So this is one module, which is the time off. Whenever an employee want to take a day off or take some vacation, they go to their cell phone and request to the manager, hey, I want a vacation for next month, and the manager is gonna see this screen currently. This is server rendering. So the user hit that URL, it goes to a server, and the server change the request. It's basically that. The server changed the request and format the result with the HTML, and the browser is gonna receive that chunk of HTML. Something like this, just in practice. This is what the server does, like conditionally um, changing something or in a loop adding more stuff, and the browser is gonna receive that huge piece of HTML. This is what's happening currently. But here on 7 shifts, with the raise of the frameworks, we choose to use React. But how are we gonna use React? Because we have that huge app. We have events, we have schedule page, time off, availability, shift pool, reports, locations. We have much more pages with that server side rendering. How are we gonna do that? And even more, we have bugs coming up, we have improvements, and we have new features requested by our customers. So how can we deal with that? So what we the interesting part about devs is we can do a way to do everything. So here, what we are doing, whenever the user go to the server, it just return a chunk of a pretty small HTML, but it is the React app. So all the other pages is still on the same, but all the converted page, the rewritten page are in React, and now that when the browser render it, it's gonna like make all the requests on the REST APIs, uh, create new time off, update ones, delete. It's gonna do all the crude. So this is basically what it's doing. Like we still have the old one working, but you have the new one. Uh, and basically, this is the new rewrite that we are working currently to rewrite this page. So the user is gonna just receive a small piece of HTML and is gonna request the data. So Okay, this is cool. We have a bunch of pages already converted. So dashboard, schedule page, reports, plans, plans again. I forgot to change. Yeah. But there's a lot more to do. So we have employees, location, availability, shift pool, and much more. So we are on the way of doing that, and our goal is to be a SPA, which stands for single page application, where you no longer need to do several, like the browser don't need to refresh. It's a it's refresh one, loads the page, and like it's gonna grab all the information and navigate whenever without refreshing. So this is our goal, is to have a single page application. And let's suppose in 1 year, 2 years, I don't know, we got there. We rewrote everything. So now we have a full single page application working. But as I said in the beginning, technology is changing all the time. What is in the future? What if something better show up? What if there is a new training framework? Let's suppose if we added all those pages, our app got so big and there is something faster. I don't know, maybe Svelte that claims to be faster because don't does not have a virtual DOM. I don't know. There's a lot of others, but the thing is, we are writing legacy code all the time, and you are writing as well. So in your company, when you think you are writing the best technology on the market, I can say you are writing legacy code. We are writing legacy code. I see a lot of sad faces over there. And this is the thing. But the thing is, the good news are how to leave behind a good legacy code now that you know that you are writing legacy code. So just one simple rule. I'm not gonna go deep on that. Is like the keys pattern. Just one single rule. The keys stands for like keep it simple, stop it. Don't don't try to overcomplicate something. Keep it simple, stop it. Then when you go back 1 year, you understand what you did. So as I was talking, I decided to talk about legacy code. I decided to go to my GitHub account and take a look on some codes that I written like 1 year ago. This was like some of you might remember this app that I made last Dev Talks, I think. It was basically a list of heroes, and you can add a new hero and you can search, and it's gonna just show what you search. Here there is like some hero cards, a button there. Pretty simple app. But can you, looking at this component here, just for the code, just for the files, schematical, can you spot which one is this? The hero, yeah, yeah. You took some time, but what? Why not call it hero card? It's a card. It's a card. So this is like keeping it simple, like simple, stupid. Uh, I'm not gonna go through like naming variables properly. You are know naming functions properly. You are know how to do that. But like just to keep in mind, another thing is like don't be afraid of splitting. So here's the code when I built it. So yeah, I can understand, right? Like looking at there is some header there, a bunch of rows, input, but why do not keep it super uh, simple, stupid? Like just split it, like a header, a toolbar, and a list. So it's simple. And then another thing is like testing. Don't forget to test. Like There is this the testing trophy that was introduced by Kent Dots. I learned last year. It's a pretty good like feel how test workings. Like he talks about how can you get confidence from your tests just for going up on this trophy here. You get more confidence with like static code, unit test, integration. But as you go up, it's also more expensive to execute and to maintain. But like if you test your, if you have confidence on the code you write, probably you're gonna go, when you look back at that code, you're gonna have confidence that is working as well. So the thing is, this guy said, any fool can write code that a computer can understand, but good programmers write code that humans can understand. And that is the point. We need to write code that humans can understand. And you yourself can understand after 1 year. So yeah, that is it. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, just let me know.